Greetings, good people. Dr. Marci here, your favorite life change architect, and I am coming to you. Today is the 2nd of January, 2024. So hopefully everybody's kind of eased in. Many people had the day off yesterday. As an entrepreneur, days off don't really exist in the norm. So I worked much of the day. I have a trip coming up here at the end of the week, so I'll be gone for a few weeks. So I have been burning the midnight oil these past couple days to get everything ready for the new year. So today's message, embracing change as an ally. Many of you, if you followed me for a number of years, you've heard me say that change is an ally, not your enemy. Change really can be your friend, but change can also be scary. I'm just going to be upfront about that. There's nothing necessarily easy about making changes in your life, especially if for the most part you feel that everything's actually pretty okay. It's not perfect, but it's okay. And so we can get in this lane of complacency and sit inside of comfortability and never actually explore going that next step to, really find out the things that we've always been curious about. Like, let's go explore that. A number of years ago, I developed a philosophy for myself. So I challenged myself to stop being afraid of stuff. And that was go and know, don't wait and wonder. Go and know, don't wait and wonder. And what that means is if you feel like there's something that you want to do, some place that you want to visit, some sort of change that you want to make in your life, go do it. And if you get there and you find out like, yeah, bruh, this really is not for me. This is not my jam. That's not my thing. I don't like this. Or you go and you're like, okay, been there, done that, got the t-shirt, whatever. It wasn't horrible, but that's really not your thing either. Wherever you started, we'll be waiting for you when you want to come back to it. I promise you. So whether that's moving to a new city, again, if you know me, you follow me, it is nothing for me to just pick up and move, even if it's just for 3 to 6 months, and go and explore and live in a new place. I recently, at the end of last year, moved back to Dallas, Texas. I had lived in Dallas, Texas for about 2 years, and from 2018 to 2020, I think it was. And then when the pandemic came along, I was actually living, so I had physically relocated to Dallas, but I was living in Utah at the time that the pandemic hit. And I was there for most of the pandemic. And then in about June-ish, I was like, you know what? This is really going on a lot longer than I thought it would. I want to be back closer to home, closer to family. And so I came back to Dallas, stayed here for another 4 to 6 months, whatever, and then eventually ended up going back to Arizona. So I say that to say, you can always go back. I'm living proof that you can always go back. When I talk about prototyping your life, that's what I thrive on, is having life be how I need it to be for me. A lot of times the choices that I make, the places I go, the decisions I make, my family is like, are you serious right now? My mom does not get me. She does not understand me. She's just like, I don't understand why anybody would need to move around. She was born in Iowa, raised in Iowa, has lived her whole 70 plus years in Iowa. And that is cool for her. It wasn't the story I wanted for myself. And maybe had I never left Iowa and went to Arizona to begin with, maybe I too would have been comfortable with that. Because there's nothing wrong with it. There was nothing wrong with Iowa. There was nothing wrong with my life in Iowa. I just needed to see something different. And so when the opportunity was presented to me, I was like, when do I need to let you know? And they're like, well, within the next 2 weeks. And I said, I've never even been to Arizona. I was on a flight within 3 days. I went to Arizona for a weekend. I talked to a realtor. I found a house and I told them 48 hours later, I'll take the job. And that was the beginning of a lot of amazing journeys that I never would have had. But I will tell you that first year in Arizona was hard. I lived in Maricopa. Those of you who are in Arizona, you know how far from the city Maricopa is. It was a beautiful, lovely little town at the time. This was back in 2008. But there was nothing there. There was literally nothing there. And on top of that, I knew no one in Arizona, not a single breathing soul. Didn't know anybody. So that first year was tough. I felt isolated. I felt scared at sometimes. I felt alone sometimes. My kids weren't happy about the move. They decided to stay, in Iowa with their dad. And so I really kind of felt like, oh God, what did I do? I probably made the biggest mistake of my life. But then I said, but I don't know what it's like to live in the city. So let me give it one more year when my lease is up. Give it one more year when my lease is up. I'm going to move to the city. And moving to the city made all the difference. So sometimes it's just a small tweak that you need to make. You don't need to scrap the whole plan. You don't need to throw everything away. Embrace change. Understand that change is there for a reason. Change can serve you so well if you're willing to embrace it and be able to make tweaks. So when you realize like, okay, this doesn't quite work for me, should I give up? I should go back. I encourage you to stop for a moment and to say to yourself, do I need to go back or do I need to tweak something? Because I promise you, sometimes it's just a small tweak. For me, in that example, it was the difference of living in Maricopa and moving to Phoenix. Once I moved to Phoenix, I loved it. I loved it. I lived in Arizona for the next 15 years. So embrace change as an ally. Change isn't always an enemy. Change can be scary, especially when it's changes that you're not driving the change. Maybe it's a job change, you've gotten laid off or something like that. Sometimes we need to be pushed out of the nest, and we have the ability to soar. We have the ability to fly, but we don't because we're comfortable. We're in a space of convenience, and we have the stability and we have the security, and kind of getting knocked off of that platform with that stability and security can be terrifying. It can really be terrifying. And you do feel like you're falling with no net. But that's the importance of planning. So I encourage you to do that. If you need help, I do have a masterclass that's starting February 8th. It's called Prototype Your Life. It's a 4-week masterclass. We'll meet for 4 Saturdays for 90 minutes each week. And I'm going to talk to you guys about my CAR formula and teach you how to utilize that strategy to really, truly not only embrace change, but really make change work for you, even when it's changes that you didn't elicit. Like this isn't what I wanted. I didn't ask for change. I was cool with it, how it was, but how it was is no longer available to you. And then it really can be difficult to understand and really embrace change as a benefit. So just remember, this year is 4th and goal. We got to score. Let's make the play calls that we need to make and get to the touchdown. We're in the end zone. We're right there. Let's go over the line and let's score that touchdown. So I will see you guys in the next video. Have an amazing rest of your day, whatever platform you're seeing this on. If you're in my YouTube family, thank you. If you're on Facebook, thank you. LinkedIn, thank you. And Happy New Year once again to all of you. And I will see you in the next video. Have an amazing day, y'all.